This contraption you see me in is the Catwalk C2 Plus from Cat VR. It's an omnidirectional treadmill that's seemingly supposed to take everything I've ever known about video games and change it all. So I spent $1,300 to get my hands on one for you guys to make a video and find out if it's true. I've been a gamer for a really long time, starting on the Sega Genesis, then the SNES, PS1, PS2, it just kept going. But in March of 2021, I tried my very first VR headset, the Meta Quest 2. And it sent me down a rabbit hole. The Quest 2 opened a whole new world for me. Suddenly, I was actually inside of a video game. The outside world melted away into whatever game I was playing, and it started off pretty basic, but when I found out that I could plug it into my PC or remotely connect over a remote desktop and unlock an entirely new type of high-resolution immersive gaming, I was hooked. So it didn't take me long to realize one thing. If I move my head, my character's head moves. Awesome. If I move my hands or my arms, my character mimics my movement. But if I move my feet, well, we are back to square one. And so later in 2021, I stumbled upon the world of omnidirectional treadmills. Specifically at the time, it was the Catwalk C and the recently announced Omni 1 set for release the same year. Now these special treadmills, they were designed specifically for VR and they blew my mind. I mean, it was solving one of the biggest quirks to VR gameplay. The joysticks, the choppy movement, the motion sickness, the crashing into things. But here's the thing. I couldn't afford one. The Catwalk C was around $1,500 and the Omni 1, well, the usable consumer product from Virtuix didn't even release until literally like 2 months ago, 3 years after it was supposed to release. So I stuck to using the Quest 2, but like a lot of things, it just started collecting dust on the shelf and barely getting used, and my VR experience faded. Until 2024.
We are incredibly proud to introduce Quest 3, the first mainstream mixed reality headset.
When Meta dropped the Quest 3, it felt like we had taken a generational leap. You had color pass-through cameras, smaller form factor, more powerful standalone processing. I remembered the glint of joy that I got from using the Quest 2 in the early days, so I felt like with all these upgrades, I absolutely had to have one. So I did what any logical person would do, pulled out my wallet and I booked it over to Best Buy to pick one up. And over time, Meta has just kept releasing update after update, and it was making this thing, well, incredible. Hand tracking has improved phenomenally. I mean, it's really incredible how great these little tiny cameras and this camera right here can keep up with your fingers and your hand movements. But pretty much any game or experience is still going to require you to switch over to the controllers. Which brings the inevitable old issue back. In such a futuristic product, movement just feels archaic. Despite this, the Quest 3 really does bridge a lot of gaps. The value for the price is phenomenal, especially when you consider the 3S. And I kept finding myself picking it up and actually enjoying it. So much so that I showed it to Joel, and he instantly bought one that week. As a matter of fact, after Joel bought one, 3 of our other friends bought one too. One of those friends was my buddy John, and while I was at John's house, letting him use my Quest 3, I stumbled upon a Cyber Monday deal from Cat VR. $200 off their latest model, free shipping, free extra year warranty, and the module to use it with the Quest in standalone. I mean, listen, I've been wanting one of these things for 3 years. It was on sale. I was in a completely different place in my life than I was 3 years ago. So yeah, we got it.
Today is the day, delivery day. Your packages are out for delivery today from FedEx. What's weird is that it's 3 packages and only one of them says it's out for delivery. So I guess we'll see how that goes. The other problem is I'm actually going on a road trip today, so I'm driving down to Charlotte, North Carolina. And so I have to wait for these to get here in order to take that trip. But I'm so excited. This has been 3 years in the making. 3 years. And I'm finally gonna get to try this out. I'm stoked. Okay. Package 1 of 3. I don't know where the other 2 are. So it looks like this is probably the USB hub that's necessary to use the Cat VR in standalone with like the Quest and stuff. I forget what it's called, the Nexus? Yeah, Nexus. So we got that, but we're waiting on the big stuff.
Heading on the road trip to Charlotte now, and unfortunately FedEx didn't deliver the biggest package, which was like 130 pounds, assuming is the treadmill, and the other one is probably like some kind of peripheral or something. I'm not really sure. That's concerning for a couple of reasons. One, the package, the biggest one, the one with the treadmill in it, was in California 3 days ago. It says it was supposed to be delivered today and it hasn't been updated at all in the tracking. So I don't know if it's lost or if they're just behind. 2, I'm not here. So tomorrow if it delivers or Sunday if it delivers, I gotta worry about a 130 pound package. Hopefully they don't just leave it outside. That would kind of suck. I don't know if they require signature or not, but I gotta figure this out and see what I'm gonna do. But I'm excited to get it sorted. Hopefully everything goes smoothly, but I gotta go to Charlotte.
Okay, I owe you guys an update. So long story short, it didn't get delivered while I was gone in Charlotte. As a matter of fact, I was kind of scared because I didn't know if it was gonna get delivered at all. There was literally no movement. I had 2 other packages from Cat VR that got delivered while I was gone. But the main one, the actual base, wasn't delivered, and it wasn't even showing any updated tracking information since California for like 6 days. Then lo and behold, on the 6th night, I got an update and it was delivered the following day and we have it. I have to figure out is I have to make sure this is the right one, because when I ordered it, I actually ordered the C2 Core, and I realized I made the mistake because it was almost the same price to get the C2 Plus. So I reached out to customer support. They asked for like a couple extra dollars, like $50 extra, and they upgraded me. So I got to make sure that this is the right one. And if this is the C2 Plus, that's going to be awesome. I'm so excited to dive into this thing, finally.
I've officially run out of space in my home. This room was actually filled with boxes of a failed e-commerce business that I closed a couple years ago, and I still have the inventory and I'm still trying to figure out what to do with it. But I took it all out, moved it all to the garage, and this is gonna be the area where the Cat VR sets up. I really need to get a studio. I got one of these Govee floor lamps for like $50 off to make it look a little better, because I wanna show you guys what this is like. And I think this is gonna be really cool, and I wanna show it in a cool environment. I don't wanna just use some iPhone footage and call it a day. We're gonna unbox this and see if we can get this thing going. Okay, the assembly was so much harder than I thought it was gonna be. It took me 3.5 hours to actually finish putting the thing together because the instructions were unclear. There were some pieces that you had to get a certain orientation, and I put them together and it was wrong, so I had to go back and redo it. That was brutal. I am so freaking exhausted, and I did not expect it to take as long as it took to put this together. In hindsight, it all kind of felt like common sense, but at the time that wasn't clear. So just make sure you do everything correctly and to the T when you put this thing together. Otherwise, you're gonna be spending a lot of time putting it together and your back is gonna hurt afterwards. I gotta go download and install the software, get this thing going. These are the shoes that basically, these are like optical mice. There's a little sensor in the bottom of the shoe, and I'm gonna spare you guys all the specs. I think there's plenty of information out there. You guys know I don't like to do specs. There's optical sensors in each shoe, and when you slide across, it detects that and converts that into movement. And then you have the waist harness here, and that detects up and down. And then you have this rolling, spinning mechanism that determines the direction. And it translates all of that into data for the Quest to receive. So basically, all you gotta do is put these shoes on and strap yourself up, get ready for the ride of your life, supposedly. The very first time that I stepped foot onto the Catwalk C2 Plus, it was awkward. It's a little slippery. They have like these little anti-slip mechanisms on the bottom of the shoe that do a semi-decent job, I guess. First off, it said to put it at the thinnest part of your waist, which I assumed was my hips, but I guess that was wrong because later on I realized that mounting it down at my hips was just causing a lot of unnecessary movement. But I really did feel like a giraffe on roller skates when I was trying to figure out how to walk. I was just sliding, and strafing is just really awkward, and turning, it took some getting used to. Now, I quickly realized that after using this, none of this is really just plug and play. I forgot about that. So this is the Cat VR app that talks to the Nexus, and this is basically required in order to translate the movement to the Quest. And it says, no device detected. Please connect the device. Let me make sure we're connected to the right Wi-Fi network. And herein lies the first limitation of this standalone system. I started out by trying the Nexus, which is the standalone Android box that they give you that you can use to play standalone Quest games. Now, my understanding is that they actually sell this box, but because of my Black Friday deal, Cyber Monday deal, they included it for free. The Nexus is essentially a mini PC that the treadmill connects to and talks to a side-loaded Quest app over your network. Now, when I ordered this, it didn't exactly say in bright letters, at least as far as I know, that it had to be connected to a LAN device, but they do absolutely recommend that the Nexus is connected to a LAN device. So there's 2 hardwired connections on this standalone box. That basically means that you need to have the mini PC and the treadmill and your VR all next to a router, and that's not practical. Like, not everyone's just gonna be able to put it right next to their router, so they should really specify that. Everything is connected. Let's make sure it stays that way. I didn't have a router where I put the treadmill, so I saw a video that allowed me to connect the Nexus over Wi-Fi, but that took a lot of trouble getting it to work. This is already a frustrating experience. Honestly, I don't even recommend trying it because it didn't work well in the end anyways. Okay, we're connected. Look at that. And we'll try contractors again. All right, we're walking. Oh, walking into a wall. Okay, we walked into a wall. I keep moving to the side. Also, this is not translating my body movement very well here. It keeps pushing me left. Now, one thing to know about the Nexus is you don't just get to use the Nexus with every single Quest game that you have on your headset. The apps that the Nexus support are just side-loaded, patched versions of the app. So the Cat Gateway app on your headset will go in and modify the apps that you have that it supports. So for example, Contractors becomes a modified version of Contractor. This is not compatible with all games, and technically Meta doesn't like this either. It'll even give you a warning telling you, hey, this isn't an official version of the game. And like I said, there's a lot of games that just don't work. Like for example, Dungeons of Eternity is a game that I love, and it just does not support this. Also, NFL Pro Era 1 and 2 do, but because Pro Era went online in Pro Era 25, it doesn't work as well. And you can kind of bet that pretty much any game that is multiplayer online and requires like a live server is just not gonna work because they're not gonna allow you to patch that for anti-cheat reasons. And initially, when I tried the Nexus, it was just constantly disconnecting. Sprinting wasn't working. It was just giving me a lot of issues, and I ended up giving up on it. I don't know if it's just gonna take some getting used to, but it's like it's not translating the right foot movement. And now we're walking backwards. Okay. Okay, initial impressions, this is really frustrating. I don't know what's going on, but we're gonna have to figure out this whole pushing to the left thing because this is not working well. I have absolutely no idea what's going on with this Nexus device. I got Joel to hop on and try it, but it is not working at all, and now it won't even connect. Now, granted, I am the one who decided to do this over Wi-Fi, contrary to what they said to do over LAN. But I don't think it should make that much of a difference, especially since they're both clearly connected to the network. So I don't know what's going on. The Nexus for me is a huge flop. Like it's not a practical device. Honestly, guys, the Nexus feels like a Band-Aid fix for marketing. It just felt like they were like, hey, we can kind of say that this works for standalone Quest if we just throw this little thing in here, but they didn't do a good job of implementing it, and it still needs a lot of work. Now, I did find another project that people created in the community that runs on your PC and acts just like a Nexus box, but it does require you to have a PC. It does work a lot better, so you gotta have a trade-off there. At the end of the day though, the Nexus is basically a small PC, so it's really not that big of a deal because you still have to have some type of hardware computing device to make this work anyways. So you might as well just run it on your PC. But even if that project works much better, which it did for me, you still have the game limitations. So I'm installing the Cat Gateway system software, which basically allows the PC to talk to this. And this is supposed to be a much more consistent and reliable interface for the Cat VR. You can calibrate the sensors. You can do all kinds of things with this.
I thought the sensors just automatically paired with the base. So I figured when I plug in the mini PC, it would just be fine, but it's asking me to pair the sensors again, which is annoying because the sensor is located in here and in the shoe. So I have to take this cover off again.
When I decided to jump into PC VR, I had a feeling that it was going to be a much better experience. Not only because it felt like the Nexus was kind of like a Band-Aid patch, but also because PC VR just has more compatibility, it's more open, and the graphics are much better. The games just perform much better than standalone Quest games. If you made it this far in the video, congratulations, I have a surprise for you. I really do think that the Meta Quest is such an amazing device, and a lot more people deserve to be able to get their hands on one and use one and try it, because it really is so cool. So I'm gonna give one away. I'm gonna give away a Meta Quest 3S, and here's all you have to do to enter. Go to my Instagram page, follow me, and join my Backstage Bites broadcast channel. That's where I share a lot of my behind the scenes content. It's a direct connection to you guys. We have a nice community there. From there, come back, finish the video, watch it all, and then comment below in the comments on this video your favorite part of the video and what you would use your Meta Quest for, and then followed by your Instagram username. That's really important because I have to verify that you're actually following me and in my community over there. That's it, pretty simple. Good luck. Oh yeah, I almost forgot. I will announce the winner in my broadcast channel in exactly 7 days. It's really important, so keep an eye out for that. Good luck. Thank God I built a mini PC for my racing sim setup, because that was the best way for me to have some type of PC down there where I connected my treadmill. Hey, Joel. It works, bro. First impressions, this is so much better than the Nexus. So much better. Now, initially I did have a ton of issues, which I later found out was a connectivity issue, and I did solve that, which I'll explain in a second. But a couple times the PC would boot up and everything would just kind of work, and then other times it would just lag. Tons and tons of lag. We are having some Wi-Fi issues because we're on the other side of the house here from the router, but nothing that a direct connection can't solve. What is happening right now? Why are we crouching? Oh, that's not doing anything.
Okay, so what I didn't think would be an issue that actually is an issue is shoes. When you wear shoes that are like a size larger than your actual shoe, it's more work, like walking, and my feet feel very uncomfortable right now. We found out that taking my mesh satellite from upstairs and connecting it directly to the PC here downstairs, even though it's still wireless, and then because my Quest was close to the satellite, it would force it to connect to that satellite. And I'd get a Wi-Fi 6 connection from my Quest to the satellite, and then it'd be hardwired into my PC. It solved a lot of the issues that I was having. So for most of this video, I was doing that. However, I just went ahead and ordered a new satellite to put here permanently. So now I have 3 mesh satellites. It was a little expensive, but it's working. So yeah, all I needed to do was hardwire my PC into the router, and all of a sudden, everything was great.
Oh, look at the little thing. Come here. Hi, buddy. I feel like that was a lot better than our initial test of this thing with the standalone. There's still a lot of things to get used to, and the movement doesn't exactly feel 100% natural. It doesn't feel like you're walking. And I think there's even some things that maybe I'm doing wrong, because sometimes I find myself walking and then I stop and then it keeps going a little bit. Or one of the biggest problems I'm having is when I'm doing like a natural walk movement, I'm veering left. And I don't know if that's just because of the way I walk or if it's because of the way this thing is rotating left and right. I think it actually might have to do with the fact that when I'm walking, I can actually see it rotating a lot more left. So maybe that's why. Maybe it's realizing that I'm shifting more left, and so then I'm going in that direction. I don't know. Okay, so here's something interesting. I'm noticing that on the sensors here, if I just run in place, my right foot sensor goes right as expected,
and my left foot goes left as expected. But as soon as I step on the Cat VR over here, you'll notice the left foot's going right a little bit. And I think it's because of this. This drift right here, when I move, this thing spins a lot. Yeah, so it turns out I was just kind of doing all of this wrong. It's been a couple of days, and I'd say I'm finally starting to get the hang of this treadmill. It's not perfect, and I haven't figured it out completely. There's a lot of like intricacies to this. Like, where do you put the harness? Where do you essentially put your shoes? Where do you put the harness? Where do you calibrate the height to? All these little things that make a huge difference. How do you stand? Which direction do you move your feet? Do you take small steps, big steps? It's a lot, and I'm starting to get used to it. I've been playing with it over the past weekend. Christmas is this week. So I've had a little bit of downtime to get used to it, I guess you could say. But with all that said, there is a steep learning curve. It's a steep learning curve, but I'm gonna go jump in, play a little bit more. Look, it took a long time to figure out my posture, the correct foot movements, and I even had to make some adjustments to the back. I had to turn that knob a ton to offset the rotation that it was making every time I walked. But as soon as I smoothed those issues out, the experience just got a lot better.
All personnel, 20 minutes to zero time.
Damn it.
Que no, coño.
I'm in a building. Why did I die? Damn, I'm in the gulag. That's crazy, man. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. My first gulag victory. Let's go. First gulag victory. Let's go. Hello? Okay. So I started playing games like Zero Caliber, Boneworks, Among Us VR, which I tried, but I realized quickly that I was a 31-year-old in a lobby of like 10-year-olds, so that didn't work out very well. But with all of that aside, this just felt fun and intuitive after I got the hang of things. Games like Contractors still felt extremely limited, and Contractors Showdown was just a disaster. But I think it's just because some games just aren't developed really well. But I did have some genuinely fun experiences on Zero Caliber and games like Boneworks. And I'm looking forward to trying a lot of the experiences that I've seen online, like Half-Life Alyx, that people just rave about. Okay, so the Catwalk C2 Plus is a huge leap forward for VR gaming. And when it works, it's a blast to use. It keeps you grounded in one spot, so you don't have to worry about bumping into furniture or punching walls mid-game, which I've done way too many times. And the unique movement system does add a layer of realism that makes traditional joystick controls feel outdated, and the fact that it kind of doubles as a workout is a nice bonus. Since they call this a treadmill, I'm sure a lot of people are wondering what's it like when it comes to fitness. So I figured I would throw on my Apple Watch, which I never wear anymore. But I'll throw on my Apple Watch, I'll start a workout as like indoor walk, or maybe I'll just do other, and then jump in and see how many calories I burn at the end. We're going to probably do like 30 minutes, I'd say. And that should give us a good idea of how much of a workout this actually is. Wait. Start other workout.
Secure this area and eliminate all enemies, soldier.
So far, 7 minutes and I've burned 30 calories. That's really not bad.
Game ended at 25 minutes. I'm gonna cut it here, but I did 97 calories. 100 calories. Not bad. I mean, 100 calories for 30 minutes isn't great. I could definitely do a lot better in the gym. I'd be like 300 calories in. And I don't know if this is 100% accurate because I feel like there were some spurts there where I was really putting in work, but still, I mean, you gotta think, burning 100 calories to play video games, it's a no-brainer. Once you get the hang of it, the fun factor is undeniable. There's just something exhilarating about running in place in your video game to dodge enemies or navigate this immersive world. But getting to that point is just not easy. The setup process is complicated. The software is far from user-friendly, and it is definitely not a plug-and-play experience. You will need patience, and you will need a willingness and ability to tinker with settings to get things working, which, by the way, if you're using a PC, that means getting down sometimes and having to unstrap yourself and go fiddle with the PC and then do it all over again. And then there is the Nexus module. Oh, the Nexus module. It promises wireless VR freedom, but just delivers way more frustration than functionality, in my opinion. Hopefully they get that sorted out. And I'm not saying don't get the Nexus if it's free. Absolutely get the Nexus. Maybe they'll make it better, but it just feels like a band-aid. Now, even once you have everything set up, the movement is just not completely natural. Strafing, going backwards, which by the way for me is almost impossible, or making quick turns can feel a little clunky and take a lot of getting used to. And by the way, it is loud, like really loud. So please don't expect a quiet gaming session. And if you live in an apartment and you have neighbors, that might be a problem. And to top it off, not every game is compatible. So some of your favorites, I'm looking at you, Dungeons and NFL Pro Air 25, just may not be a go. A lot of Steam VR games, as a matter of fact, most Steam VR games are compatible, but some games aren't available on Steam VR, which both of those are not. In hindsight, knowing what I know now, I probably wouldn't have spent $1,300 on this system, even though I really wanted one. And on top of that, you gotta remember, I'm doing this for content. So the truth is it made sense for me to do this. But as a consumer, I'm not gonna say that I would spend $1,300 on this. If I could put a price to the value, I would say this is about worth a gaming console to me, and that's it. So I would probably spend like $500 to $600 tops. But that is just me. There are other people out here who probably love this thing. There are people who probably have weight loss transformations because they're really dedicated to using it. There are people who are probably just fanatics, and if that describes you, this might be the perfect thing for you. But if you're looking for something seamless and easy to use, it's probably not the best fit, at least not yet. Now with that said, I bought this thing and I'm kind of glad that I do have it, and I'm glad that I got to do this for you. So no, I'm not going to return it. All the boxes are gone, and I'm going to continue using this thing, and maybe I'll share some updates down the road. I did hear that Dungeons of Eternity is coming out on Steam this month, January, so that'll be cool. And hopefully we see more compatibility over the next couple of months. So thanks for watching. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.